Welcome into Pressbox Live. I'm Stan the Fan Charles, and Gary Stein is with me. Gary, how are you? It's good to see you after a few weeks.
Good to see you too, Stanley. I've been having some health issues, but I think we're on the mend. So I appreciate you, picking me up, and I'm ready to go back at it.
Picking them up and laying them down, but nothing serious. Some back issues, which I've fought for much of my life. Hey,
Yep.
We've got a great guest today. It just so happens that the Ravens schedule is going to be released in about 2 hours, I think, from now, 2.5 hours. We know a little bit. One of the games is kind of leaked out, or I guess the European games leak out, but we're going to be talking to Kevin Rochlitz, the head man, a VP of sales for the Baltimore Ravens. But first, I have to tell you that in addition to our very fine Costa Sin sponsorship, we are also brought to you by the expert and award-winning AJ Michaels Heating, AC, Plumbing, and Home Performance. They will improve your home's energy efficiency and comfort levels. AC season is coming up fast, and it always does in Baltimore. All of a sudden, it's very hot. New rebates and discounts are available. More at ajmichaels.com. So after you heard all about Gary's health, the back issue, and I stumbled through the open, we welcome Kevin Rochlitz of the Baltimore Ravens. Kevin, exciting times for the Ravens right now.
It is. We're very excited for tonight for the schedule release, and obviously over the last few weeks it's been very entertaining here. So we've got a lot going on.
You've had a lot going on, and two things, which is sort of the reasons for your appearance, but I'm sure we'll get into a whole host of other things. You guys are now the 5th NFL team to work out a deal with GeekSeat. Okay.
Yep.
Did I get that right? SeatGeek. What did I say? SeatGeek?
Yeah.
SeatGeek. You're the 5th NFL team to work out a deal with them. It sounds like, when I read about it, there's a lot of good stuff in it for the fans. Can you tell us what's in store for Baltimore Ravens, for the flock, I guess we can say?
Yeah. When we looked at this technology, we just felt like the ability to use it and the ease of using it for the fan was so easy. And it's the barcode that you have on there, that you can scan. Below it are these what they call rallies that allow you to put a lot of information in, like maps of the stadium, maybe who our game day sponsor is, what's going on in that game, who's singing the national anthem. You're going to be able to scroll down on your phone and get all that information on there. Where in the past it's just been, you just tapped your Ticketmaster, your icon and gotten in. We just feel like this is going to be more inclusive, and the ability for fans to really have a deeper knowledge of what's going on at M&T Bank Stadium on the game days. So ourselves, I know the Commanders, the Tennessee Titans,
the Cowboys, the
New Orleans
Cowboys,
Saints, and
the
Cowboys,
the
Arizona Cardinals. Yeah,
Yep.
have all decided to move along and move into SeatGeek and provide that. And there's a lot of other teams around the league, around the other sports divisions too.
Well, it's four NHL teams and NBA teams. They do 7 MLS English Premier Soccer League, and they have the Jujamacine Broadway theaters, a fleet of 5 theaters. So they're coming on strong.
They are.
Is their technology? I mean, is Ticketmaster? I'm wanting to talk about SeatGeek, but is Ticketmaster going to get the message that we've been stale a little long, or what's going on with that?
Well, as you know, Stan, in any industry, when you have competition, it all rises. So
yeah,
I think everybody's, Ticketmaster has been, the only game in town realistically, and now there's another opportunity. So I think this is going to make everybody better, and it's an opportunity for us to do some different technology that we feel is great. We're excited about it. We spent a lot of time researching it out of this building to make sure this technology was going to be good. And so we're putting a lot into it, and we're spending a lot of time making sure this is going to be a great thing for our fans. I think, I hope it's going to speed up the entry process. I believe it will. I know that the league conducts a survey. In the past few years, Arizona, New Orleans, and Dallas have been the number 1, number 2, and number 3 teams as it relates to using their tickets for their fan base. So I anticipate that we hope that will be the same as we go through this process.
I know we got a couple other big bits of news to talk about, including the M&T extension of the deal. But I want to stick with one other thing. There's a lot of your fans I'm in my 70s now. Gary's probably late 50s. Okay. There's a lot of people above 45 that this stuff is intimidating to, maybe more above 50. Do you think this is going to be tough for people to learn, or that's part of the allure of this? It's going to be pretty easy.
I'm not very good at this stuff either, Stan. So, and I'm in my early 50s like Gary. So I would say this. I did it. It was easy. My parents have done it at a game in Arizona, and it was easy for them. So I really do think this is not a hard thing. Once you get it up and running, it's going to be so easy. And I really think our fans will really enjoy it.
So if push comes to shove and this all goes to hell, Bishotti's going to push you up against the wall and say, "What was that focus group?" And you're going to go, "Well, my parents used it." And
Exactly. This will be their time where they shine. So,
all right.
I really do think it's going to be easy. With something new, it's always a little bit of a challenge at the beginning, but I think it will, once everybody gets into it, they're going to be like, wow, this is really not a bad thing to do.
Gary.
So on that note, Kevin, tell me a little bit about the rollout. Like, when will it actually be live, number one? But number two, is there going to be some type of education process or something to help the fans get there?
Already, some of the fans are already downloading the app and moving their stuff over on their season ticket accounts. So that's already taking place right now. I anticipate more of it will take place probably in the next 30 to 60 days. But we're going to be going out with a lot of messaging as the season gets closer to make sure that fans know the technology, know what things they need to look out for. So as anything that we do around here, we'll make sure that the fans know how to download that stuff, and we'll be available.
Let me just jump in, Kevin. Let me just jump in and say, if it comes to the point as we get closer to season, you want this a Zoom with somebody from your tech department to explain things, we're happy to do it. Okay.
That'd be great. Yeah, I really do think, more and more people are getting so much easier on using the mobile devices that, COVID also changed that a little bit too, as is that, you go into restaurants now, and sometimes now you don't even get a menu anymore. It's you get the scan, and you pull it up on your phone. That's about how this is. It's getting to that point. So I think we're moving with the technology in that direction.
That's great. Kevin, let me ask you, and I'm blessed, actually. I know Stan, probably is too, but, in terms of parking around the stadium is concerned, being a member of the media, obviously we're entitled to that. But for regular fans just coming to the games, is there, and maybe this has been already out there, but forget about the game tickets for a minute. What about parking opportunities? Is there an app or something that help fans figure out where to park and, around the stadium, et cetera?
That the way this rallies will work in this, there might be some maps that we can do and tie in that. We're working on some additional parking opportunities around the stadium. So we're always working on that. I think the biggest change, what we're seeing, is the area with Topgolf and the Paramount Music venue on the opposite side of Camden Yards.
Right.
It's changing the direction of our fans coming in the building. And so what's happening, more fans are parking in the casino garage and walking into the stadium. So it's balancing out what's been in the past where everybody's parked in the Inner Harbor and walking in. Now we're having like both sides come in, and it's really making us think clearly about how we're going to handle this moving forward. Topgolf is up strong. Their business is doing very well. It's full. I see it during the week. There's a lot of people down there. So it's a very positive thing ultimately for fans down there, that a lot of people are going there before the game and then going there after.
I've got one more question on this, and this may be a stupid question, but then again, it's me. So,
there's never a stupid, Gary, there's never a stupid question.
Are there any more paper tickets at all?
In our building or around the league?
As far as the Ravens are concerned?
Not that I know of. When things start to go with this construction and processes there, we might have to change a little bit as it relates to club entry and club passes that way. But As it relates to tickets, no. I mean, primarily all tickets are being printed or have gone away. Everything's on the mobile device. And it's somewhat easier now to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, it's just losing tickets, transferring them, getting them there. You just get them there quick. You don't have to FedEx or UPS it overnight. It's just transferring the tickets. And it seems to be, again, I just think COVID taught everybody that you can do this.
Mhm.
Just waiting for the next day that the airlines don't even give you a chance to do a boarding pass anymore.
That's
And it's
right.
phone and I'm sure it's coming at some point.
Along those lines of change, Kevin, Ravens have been here since 1995. A lot of the fan base is aging.
Mhm.
I'm imagining there is some turnover in PSLs, which is, to me, seems natural. But I have to admit, last night I'm watching the Warriors Lakers game, and I'm pretty sure I saw a TV commercial for the first time that sort of was offering PSLs for the Ravens. Is my supposition correct that there is a little bit of a changing of the guard? Some people are giving up their tickets, not out of displeasure with the Ravens, but just from an aging situation.
Well, there's a lot of that, but there's a lot of people that transfer them to their families and go from there.
Yeah.
But we still always want to sell PSLs around the building.
Okay.
We don't have a 40-yard line or a 50-yard line PSL, but we might have upper deck. But we have to get that younger fan involved, and though whether it's a 22 or 23-year-old that's starting their first or second job and they're growing, those are the ones that we want to get involved early and grow them through the process, because then when they're 30, 40 years old, they might buy those other tickets that are down below as they come available. So we ran commercials last year and the year before selling PSLs. That's not new. We've always done that. But ultimately, our whole process is we've got to continue to keep hitting that younger fan, because we want to continue to grow those fans.
Moving to that other topic, you celebrated, it was actually almost 20 years to the day. I think it was May the 6th, 03, that M&T signed on board as a title sponsor, stadium sponsorship.
Yeah.
So they're 20 years in. There was, I think, 4 more years or 5 more years ready to go.
Yeah.
Now this deal is going to run to 2037. This has been a really incredible partnership in this day and age.
It's been unbelievable. Obviously, I literally spent a year working on this, and with M&T, knowing that we're renewed our lease, that we're going to be at M&T Bank Stadium, it was just ideal for us to lock that thing in. And now we have 35 years, which I believe is in the top 4 or something. You guys could probably check this, but there's not very many above us that have consistency this long of having the name on the stadium. I think Gillette Stadium's in there. There's a couple others that have the naming rights in there, but the partnership with M&T is so strong for us, and it means a lot to us in the community and what we're doing. It just made sense for us to get this thing done now, and that's what we did. And I think Steve really enjoys it, having the same name on the stadium for all these years.
Is there any truth to the rumor that Augie just got sick of you being at his door every day and said, let's do this till 20? When are you retiring? Let's do it till then.
That might be the case. I've talked to him like 3 times today about other subjects. So that might be the case that existed. But there was a lot of people involved, obviously, at M&T. I spent a lot of flights to Buffalo. And again, I just think it was a win-win situation for us and M&T as they continue to grow, their brand in the Baltimore area.
Hey, Kevin, speaking of M&T, and you mentioned the community, how good they are in the community as well as the Ravens. Most Ravens fans know, obviously, the name of the stadium. They associate M&T with the Ravens through that. Yeah. But can you talk a little bit about some of the other things that M&T Bank does with you or through you in the community? Like, I'm talking about feet or hands on the ground, as opposed to just putting their name on the stadium.
Yeah, they're involved in a Teacher of the Year program with us that they participate in and run. We also do some community programs. We've built some playgrounds at some of the schools in the area together. I think they're going to also be involved in the donation that Steve and Renee Bishotti did by building the Boys and Girls Club. in downtown Baltimore. So I think they're going to be involved in that. So M&T to us is the community brand was such a big thing for them, but they're definitely involved in a lot of community angles. Obviously, they're the title sponsor of our marching band, which is a big thing for us. So there's a lot of angles that they play, but the biggest play is obviously being involved in the community and participating. And so whether it's schools or those type of things, we do a lot with them.
Kevin, can you give us an update on the gambling situation, the betting situation at M&T Bank Stadium? You know, Stan was talking about younger fans, reaching out to younger fans. This is obviously a huge topic for the young fans. What will be the situation once the season begins?
Well, currently the way the rule permits is that you have the right to use your mobile device and bring it into M&T Bank Stadium and place bets like you would anywhere else in the state. There is an opportunity. We don't know where we'll go with it, but we could potentially put a betting area at M&T Bank Stadium. The league has allowed us to. You can place bets at the stadium and do that. I just don't know if that's something that we're going to be. We have the effort to get done for the 23 football season. It may be beyond, but we'll look at that type of thing. But ultimately, the amount of people gambling these days has grown and the numbers continue to grow. And you're right, that young fan base, I think where you're going to get to is those young fans will sit there on their phone and bet in stadium on certain things. And that's why we continue to spend more and more money reinvesting in our Wi-Fi at M&T Bank Stadium and make sure that it's really good and you can get your messages and those things, get online quickly.
Along those lines, the new lease that you guys have signed and the which will free up the 600 million of the 1.2 billion. What kind? I like, because asking you is the right guy. What kinds of things is that going to pay off for the fans? It's not as if Steve suddenly says, "Hey, raises for everybody."
Right.
It goes into things like, you know, infrastructure for your Wi-Fi and upgrading those things. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'll give you, we haven't got fully into it yet because we just got done hiring a construction group and going through all that we're working with the state on. But ultimately, there's a lot of ideas. There might be additional hospitality areas. I think you can see some enhancements to the overall plaza as you enter M&T Bank Stadium, where the Unitas and Ray Lewis statue is. I think we're going to try and look at the lighting around the stadium, inside the stadium. Is it brightening that up? You know, our marketing department looks at when you walk around the stadium, there's not as much Ravens branding on the concourse. I think we're going to rebrand that a little bit and make that better. So I think there's going to be a lot of ways that ultimately the fan is going to recognize the difference of what, if you want to call it M&T 2.0, is going to look like when we get done. I think you'll start to see at the end of next year a lot of changes, and probably the year after a significant amount of changes after that. This upcoming year, I don't think you're going to see a lot of changes because, as you know, getting supplies and things like that is still a challenge.
Yep.
And we're facing that right now. So we're doing the best we can to kind of get going and get our drawings laid out and what we want to do. And then I think it'll be a work in progress as we start laying out that plan going into 24. But during the 24 season, I think you will recognize some differences at M&T Bank Stadium.
I've been very impressed with a lot of the things that John Angelos has introduced on the baseball side of things. It's no secret that his dad was could be difficult to deal with. Is there a softening in the relationship between the two organizations that might lead to more easier participation with one another?
Well, we always want to do stuff with them. I mean, obviously we've had the opportunity. I know they just gave out a purple jersey at one of their games a few weeks ago, and we have them come out on Ravens Walk for a couple games and things like that. So we're always willing to help, and a lot of our players go over there and throw out the first pitch, and a lot of their players come and try and go in a suite at our place. So there's a lot of that stuff going back and forth. And obviously, when you're investing that kind of money in those two buildings, the power of the two working together is three. So I think you'll see more of that as we develop and try and figure out what that landscape is going to look like in downtown Baltimore.
Just curious. So do you have any, I'm not saying you're intimately involved, but Governor Moore and John Angelos are talking about trying to improve the whole, area surrounding the stadiums. Are you involved in those talks? Not you personally necessarily, but are the Ravens aware of those and want in to talk?
I think we're aware of those conversations. I think right now we're spending so much time of ours trying to focus on the construction of what we're going to do and get that figured out first, because it's going to take a long time for us to get that stuff set up. And so we're spending a lot of time working on that right now. That's not to say that after we get that done, we'll go from there, but we're really spending a lot of time trying to figure out our plans for around M&T.
I thought you were going to say there for a second, we're spending so much time signing Lamar Jackson. But
I know this. I'm spending a lot of time trying to find the money. So
money.
that's always
That's
the
your
case.
job.
That made your life a little harder.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'll let Gary. Maybe Gary
thing.
wants to ask a question or two there, and I had one or two, and then we'll let you go.
Yeah, no problem.
Kevin, I wanted to ask getting back to the fans for a minute, and you've probably seen this. A lot of Major League Baseball stadiums now, if you watch the game on television from behind the pitcher's back, you have the stands obviously, but a lot of stadiums now have made additional fan access, like almost like on the dugout level, like underneath the stands, where there's a mesh fence and people are drinking and eating and doing all kinds of great stuff down there. And I'm just wondering, is that possible at M&T Bank Stadium, and or what type of additional, like, closer touch access can the Ravens come up with for fans to enjoy the game at the stadium?
Well, I can tell you that's topic of mind. I can tell you that 2024, you will see some of those. I just don't think we're ready to launch them yet, but there will be some things in 24 that will give you that touch behind the scene experience or closer to the game action as we go through this process. So we're working on those. We understand that. We do understand that's what people will pay for and buy. So we are trying to really research that. We're spending a lot of time looking at other stadiums around the league and other places. And we think we have some ideas that we think will match our fan base.
On that note, I wanted to ask you, because we noticed this last year, obviously, right by the band, there's a section now. I think I could be wrong. And so because I don't know it, I don't want to say who the sponsor was because I don't want to mess it up. But there's a section right now by the band which gives fans additional access. How do you get that? Is it a group? Is it single tickets? Like, what is that?
It's the Bud Light Touchdown Club.
Okay.
And Bud Light owns it, and they give it out to customers and retailers throughout the week at designated events as they go through the Baltimore area. So they give away tickets, and whether retailers, you go in and win 4 tickets into there. So
it seems like everybody's having a great time there, Kevin.
They're having a great time, and you don't even see behind that is a bar.
Okay.
Where they can go in there and drink, and there's restrooms in there and do that. So again, that's probably one of the entree pieces that we kind of got into and saw how it was working. And now we're like, how do we build more of those type of experiences that more of the fans can purchase or be involved in? And that's one of the things that we're working on as we go through this process.
Speaking of places where people have a good time, I've got to tell you a little bit about the Costas Inn.
Yeah.
Wasn't that pretty seamless?
It was a
Kevin?
great transition.
Yeah, I'm actually taking one of the original investors in Pressbox. He flew in for the Orioles series this weekend, and the place he wants to go every time is the Costas Inn, located 4100 North Point Boulevard. They've only been there for 50 plus years. The Triantafilos family are wonderful, wonderful people, and the time you have and the accoutrements at the Costas Inn, that's a pretty big word for the Costas Inn.
And for you.
The homey feel at the Costas Inn goes a long way. Great help, great food, great time. The Costas Inn, 4100 North Point Boulevard, 410-477-1975. Kevin, we're going to let you go in a couple of minutes, and maybe Gary's got one or two more for you, but I had, all kidding aside, the Lamar Jackson saga, it took a lot out of a lot of us. I mean, it was just one day up, one day down. It's done. It feels like the 64,000-pound elephant in the room is signed,
Right.
sealed, and delivered. I'm curious, did it change business kind of suddenly for you guys?
Well, our business right now is very strong. I've never seen suite sales as strong as we are right now. We have no suites really available, and that's
And
never been like
this is
that.
prior to Lamar signing.
It is prior, and
Okay.
we've gotten a few calls since, and obviously we'll get more calls tonight, probably with single games. But ultimately, I think, just as if you were trying to figure out what's going to happen with Lamar, so were we. We weren't
Yep.
obviously involved in all that. I give a lot of credit to Eric DeCosta for keeping it, on track and getting it done. And I think what it is, it's really good for our fans. When you didn't know who your quarterback was going to be, now that you know that, you got OBJ. It's like we keep adding these players, and then you go to the draft, and everybody loves our first draft pick. So it's like we've got this enthusiasm going, and everything's positive right now. And I think everybody's very, very excited to see what the 2023 Ravens class is going to be like.
One last question for me. The only game I know of that has leaked out, and I don't know if it's a leak or the league actually has put out the Europe games. The Ravens are going to play the Tennessee Titans. It's a road game for the Ravens. It's a Titan home game. Will Raven fans have fairly decent access to purchasing tickets if they want to take a trip and keep their fingers crossed it's a better game than the last time they were?
Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope. I remember the last one.
It has
It has to be. Exactly. The only way is up on that one.
Yep.
Yeah, it's obviously going to be a 9:30 a.m. Kickoff here in Baltimore on, I believe, NFL Network. So it's going to be an early morning here, but I think it's going to be really good from a fan perspective. I think there will be tickets available. I think we're starting to work with a group that's going to put a link out on our website. So if people are interested in going, they'll be able to go. But London has treated us very well. Our fan base is very strong over there. When I spoke with our senior VP of marketing the other day, he said when we played over there, we brought in like 16 countries of fans came to our bar crawl and stuff like that we did there. So I anticipate it's going to be just as strong this year when we play on October 15th over there. So, it wasn't a leak. The league did issue that game. We are aware of that one. So that is one that's out there and it's concrete. Now it's a matter of the other ones that we go through, knowing that we will only have one home preseason game this year. The other two will be on the road. Therefore, we have the extra home game during the regular season.
So do you actually, all kidding aside, if I was there and hit you with truth serum, do you know the games and times at this point, or you find them out pretty much at game time tonight?
I think we got a little bit of an understanding this afternoon, but
all right.
But other than that, no. We have to do some planning, as you know, Stan, with some things.
Sure.
And to figure out, and so we do that today. But other than that, tonight is where it's released, and we keep it pretty well tight and trying to figure out the plan. But there's certain things that we have to get ready for to launch right at 8 o'clock.
Gotcha.
And those certain things we definitely need to make sure that we're not just throwing out a product that's not it doesn't look good. So we got to do a little design elements. We obviously have to do some things for our suite holders and secure some trips for them. We also,
and of course, you had to you probably told your parents, of course.
No, I haven't done that today. So that'll be the call tonight at 8:01. But we also have to work with our partners at BAL TV as we launch our preseason television broadcast. So we got to work on all that as well.
Gary, you got one last question?
Yeah,
for
Kevin,
Rochlitz?
first of all, your parents have done so much for you. I thought you would definitely tell them in advance. Number one. And number two,
No, the Ravens, but don't the Ravens play in Arizona this year?
We will be playing in Arizona. So
right.
I might have to buy them some tickets via SeatGeek this year.
That's right. And also the other thing, Kevin, is I thought the whole reason you were coming on at 5:30 today was so we could get the scoop before BA got it and all that stuff. But regardless,
I don't want to lose my job.
No, it was because of my dinner at the Costas Inn.
Right.
I've got to meet them out there in 45
Exactly.
minutes.
Yeah. But Kevin, I did want to ask a final question. You may not know the answer to this, but in a situation like this for the international game against Tennessee, how does the league divvy up tickets? Like, how many does England get? How many do the Ravens get? Or is there a formula for that?
And the Titans are a home game, so do they
Right.
get more than the Ravens?
Yeah, I think they get more than us, but I do think the fans over there obviously get the most to purchase.
Mhm.
Typically in a away scenario, if we go to any team, I believe we get like 500 tickets. I think that might continue, but I think we'll have the opportunity to get a little bit more, and the fans will buy them, up. I know our fans traveled well when we played there the last time. I think they'll do the same. I definitely don't want the outcome that we had last time, or I'll never maybe go back to London ever again.
Hey, Kevin, before we let you go, I just do want to throw out that offer. I'm not going to call you and pester you, but if you
Yeah.
get closer to the season and you want a vehicle to
Yeah.
talk about SeatGeek, we're willing to have somebody on from the tech side.
Yeah,
okay?
maybe we get Baker Koppelman on and have him do that. That'd be great. So
That sounds really good.
Sounds good. Thank you.
We really appreciate the yearly visit with you. And you
absolutely.
give us a real insights
I
into
mean,
how the club
between
operates.
this week and last week, I got both Charles in 2 weeks. I don't know if I can handle that.
Hey, I
Come on.
was remiss at asking you one thing.
Yeah,
Since we last spoke a year ago, you got a new team president in place,
yeah.
and I just thought, and I'm not expecting you to say, "Boy, he's a jerk" or something like that. So he's an impressive guy. What have you seen out of Sashi Brown so far?
Well, we don't see a lot because he's so busy, but we're keeping him busy with a lot of this stuff, and obviously the M&T deal and the new lease.
Yep.
So we've got a lot going on, and we keep him busy. The other thing is Dick still comes in once a week, so we have the opportunity to catch up. I actually had lunch with him yesterday, so it's great to see him enjoying. I don't know if you call it retirement because he still comes in and he's working on some stuff for Steve for the Boys and Girls Club down in downtown Baltimore.
That's
So
great.
I think we got a really good group. Our senior staff and our teams are doing really well. I think we're just really excited to find out what the schedule comes out and then figure out our plans moving forward for the 23 season.
Kevin, thank you very much for joining
Sounds
us.
good,
man.
Kevin. Thank you.
Really
Got it.
appreciate it.
Have a good night, guys.
Okay. We've been brought to you again by the Costas, and you don't have to hang for this, Kevin.
Got
I
it.
know you're busier than needing to know about the Costas Inn.
You
The
got it. Have a
Costas
good
Inn
night.
brings you all of our Zooms, and we've also been brought to you by the folks at AJ Michaels, Heating, AC, Plumbing, and Home Performance. Mr. Stein,
Sir.
it's good to see you, and I'm glad you're getting out of pain. I got one last thing to tell you. Orthotics for your
Yeah,
shoes.
I know it's huge. I see a
Go to
PT
Charm-
guy and a chiropractor.
Go to Charm City Run and put a pair of super feet in your sneakers. It really helps immensely, especially because I had the same problem after my cervical fusion. I had numbness down my legs, and they wanted to do a lumbar surgery, and the super feet really saved me from a surgery. They really did, Gary.
I will
Seriously.
check it out for sure. Thank
All
you,
right,
Stan.
buddy.
Hey, and I
Glad you're
appreciate-
feeling good.
Just as
What's
an
that?
aside, you and Jane, I mean, guys, you're the best friends. I appreciate you calling on me, checking on me,
We were
advising
really-
me.
We were
everything.
really checking on Julie, you know.
That's true. That is
All
true.
right.
Boy, she suffered too. If I couldn't sleep, she couldn't sleep. You
I
know.
understand that. Well, there's nothing worse than having your spouse be in pain. There's no question about it.
Thank you.
Gary, I love you. I'll talk to you next week. Who do we have next week?
The 18th, I think, right? Or
Yeah,
let me
the
check.
18th.
Oh,
I just booked somebody yesterday. It was,
well,
oh
I
my
have it in my
God.
book? No. Hold
What's
on.
that?
I'm checking to see if I have it in my book.
You don't have it in your book. I tell you who
I
I
do not.
booked. I booked the director of the Maryland Lottery and Sports Gaming, John Martin, is
There
going to
you
be
go.
on with us. Some new numbers came out, and I thought it was apropos to talk about those. Big decline percentage-wise from the first month, but still a lot of dollars going into the state coffers from gaming. All right.
Sounds good.
All right. We'll talk soon.
You got it.
Bye.